New York's Finance and Media Labor Realignment, AI layoffs in March 2026. In March 2026, New York State saw a wave of layoffs in white-collar fields as companies turned to automation and artificial intelligence, AI. Many firms in finance, insurance, legal, and media cited new AI tools and workflow automations when reducing staff. For example, roughly 78,500 U.S. tech workers were cut in the first quarter of 2026, with about 48% attributed to AI/automation. In New York, official data sources like state labor reports and WARN notices and corporate filings, SEC 8K forms, and public announcements reflect a similar trend. Leading banks and media outlets have announced job cuts, and studies show routine tasks in research, compliance, and content production are being automated. We analyze the evidence, WARN notices, SEC filings, news reports, to identify causes of these layoffs, examine which tasks are affected, and outline the short-term effects on workers' pay. Finance and insurance sector cuts. Major New York financial firms announced cuts in March 2026 as they adjust to higher costs and new technology. Morgan Stanley, for example, disclosed in early March 2026 that it would lay off about 2,500 employees, roughly 3% of its workforce, across its investment bank. The firm said the reductions would spare client-facing financial advisors and focus on internal support and administrative roles. This followed years of pandemic hiring. Morgan Stanley grew from 60,000 employees in 2019 to over 83,000 by 2025. Industry observers note that some of the cuts align with the adoption of back-office AI systems like automated risk models, chatbots for routine queries, or digital compliance tools, even if not explicitly stated in the filing. For context, analysts at Morgan Stanley, the bank itself, projected tens of thousands of banking jobs could be at risk from AI and automation by 2030, on the order of 10% of the finance workforce in major banks. Other financial firms have already trimmed staff. Citigroup and BlackRock quietly reduced headcount, and fintech companies like Block, Cash App Square, cut jobs while touting AI efficiency gains. For example, Block's CEO Jack Dorsey announced it was firing over 4,000 employees, about 40% of its staff, because artificial intelligence had made them unnecessary. This was done even as Block reported growing profits, highlighting a decision to restructure around AI tools. The insurance industry is also retooling. New York City insurer AIG has invested heavily in AI. Its CEO described using generative AI to speed up underwriting and data analysis by at least 10 times. He explained that AIG is training an AI underwriting assistant that will handle roughly 70% of standard underwriting work, leaving human experts to focus on the remaining 30%. In plain terms, routine tasks done by junior underwriters, data entry, risk scoring, will largely be automated, while experienced underwriters do the complex casework. So far, AIG has framed this as boosting productivity rather than cutting jobs, but underlying it is a strategy that could shrink staffing needs. Other insurers are adopting similar tools for claims processing and fraud detection, which suggests that some insurance operations roles may decline. We did not see reports of large insurance firm layoffs in March 2026, but the direction is clear. Automation of actuarial and customer service tasks is intensifying. Across finance and insurance, these changes reflect task-level automation. Back-office and middle-office roles, risk and compliance officers, underwriters, claims analysts, are increasingly assisted by AI. For example, a Morgan Stanley FT analysis found that roles in risk management and compliance could see up to 30% of their tasks automated by AI systems. Automated due diligence software can review thousands of documents in minutes, replacing work once done by teams of analysts. As one industry CEO warned, cutting junior positions can be short-sighted. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon has publicly argued that eliminating entry-level talent could undermine long-term skill training. In practice, many firms say they will retrain affected staff for higher-value roles, but in the short run, layoffs hit those doing repeatable tasks. Legal and compliance services, law firms, and corporate legal departments have also felt the early winds of AI, though layoffs have been less public. AI tools for legal work are maturing fast. Software can now quickly search case law, flag contract issues, and even draft basic legal documents. Surveys suggest lawyers are aware of this. One 2026 poll of U.S. attorneys found that 38% believed AI could perform up to 10% of their tasks, and 23% thought AI might eventually handle 30% or more of what they do. Many write-ups note that routine legal research and document review could be offloaded to AI, freeing lawyers for strategy and client work. For now, most firm leaders argue AI will assist rather than replace attorneys, but they are trimming support staff. For example, some large New York law firms have quietly reduced the number of paralegals and junior associates as they adopt e-discovery platforms and contract review algorithms. In compliance and consulting, similar pressures emerge. Financial and corporate compliance officers use AI-based monitoring systems to scan regulatory filings and flag anomalies. This can cut the hours needed from human compliance teams. One observer notes that AI adoption in consulting and audit, often based in New York offices, is starting to bite, suggesting slower hiring for entry-level audit and advisory staff. State and city data back up that AI is concentrated in certain occupations. An official NYC report found 43% of New Yorkers' AI-driven work conversations were in computer and mathematical fields, far above the national average. Arts, media, and legal fields accounted for a smaller share, 8 to 10% each, indicating that currently high-tech business services are most affected first. Still, as automation expands, even some compliance and legal tasks are moving toward AI, hinting at further job shifts. Media and content production. New York's media and content industries have been especially active in cutting jobs for AI-related reasons. News publishers nationwide are under pressure from declining ad revenue and disruptive tech, including AI. In 2025, Business Insider, based in NYC, laid off 21% of its staff, explicitly announcing it was going all in on AI. The CEO said painful cuts were needed to realign with a new content strategy that relied on AI tools. Similarly, the Associated Press offered voluntary buyouts to U.S. ocean talent-based journalists in April 2026 as part of a pivot toward video and AI-generated analysis. AP's union complained that management was flirting with artificial intelligence while letting experienced editors go. Even legacy outlets in New York are embracing AI. In May 2025, the New York Times struck a deal to license its archives to Amazon so that Amazon's AI systems can use Times content. These shifts are paralleled by actual layoffs in newsrooms. For example, the Washington Post, though based in D.C., cut about one-third of its staff in early 2026. Many of those cuts were outside New York, but they signal a broader industry trend that hits New York media workers too. Industry analyses note that media organizations are using AI to generate basic news briefs, summaries, and even write portions of stories. Job roles in editing, layout, and social media content are increasingly handled by software. A city report on AI usage found that arts and media occupations in NYC made up about 8% of AI tool usage, reflecting that many jobs in publishing and entertainment are beginning to use AI tools. In plain terms, many writing, editing, and design tasks in New York media are likely automated, so the industry is shedding or reassigning that work. Task-level automation trends. Across these sectors, the specific tasks displaced by AI are clear. Analysts often break jobs into tasks and see which are automatable. Data analysis and reporting. In finance and insurance, routine data crunching is a prime target. For example, some compliance and audit tasks can be done by algorithms that process regulations and filings. Industry reports suggest that 30% or more of current risk management and compliance work could be automated. In brokerage or banking, AI systems can generate basic investment reports, route customer inquiries, or monitor transactions for fraud, replacing corresponding staff roles. Underwriting and claims. Insurance companies now use AI to evaluate policies and claims. AIG CEO explained that by applying AI, they can ingest massive underwriting data 10 times faster than before. He described training AI to act as a junior underwriter, initially handling perhaps 70% of routine case input, leaving the remaining 30% of complex decisions for experienced humans. In practice, this means entry-level underwriters do far less work. They essentially do oversight while AI does data entry and first-pass scoring. Claims adjusters similarly use AI chatbots and image recognition to process small insurance claims automatically. Legal research and document review. AI tools can now sift through case law, extract contract provisions, and summarize litigation patterns. This cuts into jobs like paralegal document review or junior attorney research. A recent survey found many lawyers believe 10 to 30% of their usual tasks could be done by AI. For example, a routine contract review that once took hours might be done in minutes by an AI. So firms may hire fewer junior lawyers or substitute high-paid attorneys with software-assisted review. Content creation and editorial work. In media and publishing, generative AI can write short articles, craft press releases, and edit text automatically. News organizations are increasingly using automated writing systems for basic stories like sports recaps or financial reports. The NYC data on AI usage shows media-related jobs registered significant AI activity, meaning those roles are already incorporating automation. Social media management and SEO content creation are often done with AI tools, reducing the need for human content writers. Miscellaneous tasks. Across offices, even tasks like scheduling, customer service chat, and standard analysis are being automated. For example, in customer support, companies use AI chatbots that handle 24/7 inquiries, which can displace call center or email support staff. The cumulative effect is that many entry-level or routine white-collar jobs are vulnerable. Labor groups have noted surveys predicting that up to 50% of entry-level white-collar roles could disappear over the next 5 years as AI matures. In short, where a computer program can now do the work, firms are using it to reshape their workforce. As one technology officer put it, companies that quickly automate will need smaller teams, leaner and flatter by design. Case studies, company announcements. Several high-profile announcements in early 2026 illustrate these trends. Block, Square, Cash App. The fintech giant, founded by Jack Dorsey, cut about 4,000 jobs, about 40% of its workforce, in late February 2026. Dorsey said this was a strategic move to adopt AI across the company. New intelligence tools and agents were enabling a completely different workflow, allowing a smaller team to do the same work. He emphasized that Block's business was strong, and the layoffs were about restructuring around automation, not distress. Morgan Stanley. The investment bank's March 2026 cut of 2,500 jobs, 3% of staff, was part of a wider industry downsizing. While Morgan Stanley did not single out AI publicly, the cuts came amid statements that the firm was combining technology and human work in wealth management. A source noted the trimmed roles were in support functions. This aligns with a broader narrative that banks are implementing software to handle basic tasks. Business Insider in June 2025, BI's CEO announced layoffs of 21% of employees to shift the company all in on AI. This echoes in March 2026 as BI continues to invest in AI-generated audio briefings and data-driven content, serving fewer human editors. Though early, this move shows a major media brand endorsing AI replacement. Associated Press, in April 2026, the AP with major NYC presence offered buyouts to dozens of journalists as it pivots to digital and AI-supported storytelling. AP executives have been blunt. They plan hundreds of fewer print-oriented reporters over time, relying more on AI and video teams. The AP union criticized this approach, saying management flirts with AI instead of retraining staff. AFL-CIO labor groups. On a broader level, labor federations warned that advancing AI could threaten vast numbers of jobs. The AFL-CIO launched a workers' first AI agenda in late 2025, citing studies where experts predicted up to 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs could vanish within 5 years because of AI. This has put further pressure on companies to justify cuts, hence new rules require disclosures. These cases show the same pattern. Companies using AI are often very profitable, cutting staff deliberately to capture efficiency gains. Even when credited to automation, such layoffs can be motivated by routine business realignment. However, some companies voice caution. For example, JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon publicly questioned whether quickly eliminating junior roles might harm skill development. Others, like IBM, are doing the opposite. They tripled early career hiring in 2026, arguing that humans still add value. Short-run wage effects for displaced workers. The personal cost of these layoffs is likely large. History shows that losing a job often means lower pay for years. One economic study found that a worker displaced from a long-term job sees earnings fall by about 57% in the following year. In practical terms, if someone was earning $100,000, their next year's pay might only be $43,000 before accounting for unemployment benefits. Even a decade later, displaced workers in that study earned 25% less than similar unstuck workers, mostly because their hourly wages remained about 15% below peers, even if they were employed. In the short run, many laid-off workers have to accept lower-wage jobs or part-time work. They may exhaust unemployment insurance benefits before finding a similar position. The city's labor data in early 2026 did not show a major spike in new unemployment claims, aside from a brief nursing strike effect, suggesting many affected workers may have quickly found alternative jobs, perhaps at lower pay. But broad findings are clear. Automation-driven displacement tends to leave workers worse off financially unless they quickly retrain. These wage effects highlight the human side of the purely technical story. While companies report billions in profits, those exiting the workforce face significant setbacks. Workers already earning modest wages, like entry-level analysts or journalists, see even steeper percentage losses. Unemployment insurance can soften the blow, but it typically replaces only a fraction of pay and is time-limited. In short, the wage penalty for being caught in these AI layoffs is large and persistent. Preparing for the shift. Given these trends, what can affected workers do? Experts recommend several steps to adapt. Invest in new skills and learning. Embrace training programs or online courses that teach emerging tools like data analysis, AI basics, programming, or digital marketing. Focus on skills that AI cannot easily replicate. For example, creative problem solving, interpersonal communication, leadership, and critical thinking. These human skills are likely to remain in demand. Upgrade your tech savviness. Learn to use common AI tools in your field. For instance, a finance professional might get comfortable with Excel add-ins or financial modeling software that uses AI. A marketer might learn basic content generation tools. Showing you can work with AI, not against it, will make you more valuable to employers. Stay informed and network. Follow industry news about AI and automation. In New York, the state now tracks whether layoffs are AI-related, so data will be available. Use professional groups, meetups, or online forums to learn how peers are adapting. Networking can also help you find openings in growing areas like tech support, data analysis, or new compliance roles. Use available resources. Take advantage of any reskilling or reassignment programs your employer or state offers. In recent legislation, New York has signaled it may require companies to retrain rather than just cut workers. Unemployment agencies and community colleges often have workforce training funds for displaced workers. Explore these early. Be flexible. Consider roles that combine your current expertise with technology. For example, experienced financial analysts are still needed to interpret AI-generated reports, or AI trainers and auditors may be roles created by this shift. In media, experienced journalists are valuable as content editors or AI explainers. Focus on what machines can't do. Truly human skills remain a hedge against automation. As one expert wrote, qualities like leadership, creativity, ethical judgment, and emotional intelligence will keep humans in the loop. Cultivate skills like project management, strategic planning, or client relationships, areas where algorithms still lag. In short, displaced workers should not despair. The strategy is to adapt. One recent guide emphasized lifelong learning and human-centric skills, noting that employers will pay a premium for employees who know how to work with AI. By staying proactive, updating your skill set, learning new tools, and highlighting your unique human strengths, individuals can navigate the upheaval. Economic shifts like this are challenging, but workers who embrace retraining and flexibility can emerge ready for the next opportunity. Conclusion: New York's March 2026 layoffs in finance, insurance, legal, and media sectors appear closely tied to the rise of AI and automation. While some cuts reflect broader business pressures, many announcements explicitly or implicitly cite productivity gains from technology. Official schedules, WARN notices, and filings show a marked uptick in reductions within high-wage industries. The affected tasks, from data analysis and compliance to content writing, are precisely those now replicable by AI. Unfortunately, displaced workers typically suffer large short-term pay cuts. Going forward, a mix of policy, like the new AI-related WARN reporting requirements, and personal action, retraining, upskilling will be needed. New York is at the forefront of this realignment, and both employers and workers must adapt. By understanding the trends and preparing in advance, the burden of transition on individuals and communities can be eased. All links to sources are available in the text version of this article. You can find the full article at can'tfindjob.com. Thanks for listening. If today's episode hit close to home, Stop scrolling job boards that weren't built for this new reality. Check out Claw Earn on AIagentstore.ai, the first jobs marketplace designed for both humans and AI agents, so you can start earning no matter which side of the AI revolution you're on.